Well, I'm a bit shaky while I'm still setting this up, but I decided to do this last Inktober sketch live. So be a little bit patient with me while I set up a little bit of music in the background. And quiet this. I did not figure out how to go higher in quality. I will one of these days. Live stream music? I don't know. Yeah, actually I went live before I prepared my drawing thingamajigs. So I'm just gonna lay everything out here. And I wanted to share this as well, right? So let me just share this on my Discord with the people. This announcement. I am live right now doing the final Inktober sketch. There we go. Okay, so I need a pencil and the rest is not so important right now. And let's go to this page. This is where I'm going to, hey, Trap Legion. So what do I need? Actually, I have everything. I just want this. So today's prompt word is crawl. So let me do crawl. I was thinking about, well, it's a bit hard to come up with crawl for spaceships. So I asked my girlfriend, and that's what I do most of the time when I don't really have an idea just yet. I just asked my girlfriend, and she suggested, how about like a big crab, you know, like one of those hermit crabs that hollowed out a spaceship and is sort of living in it now. Hey Simone, welcome. And I thought the hermit crab that lives out in space and hollowed out a spaceship for itself is actually a really cool idea. So that is what I'm going with. And I looked at some pictures with hermit crabs. They are actually pretty freaky, cool animals. I have a very mild arachnophobia. So in general, I'm not doing very well with these sort of... Oh yeah, I wanted to put music. Why don't you guys say something? I need live stream music but royalty free. Royalty free live stream music, there we go. No copyright sounds, gaming music live stream. Oh, this should do it. I'll bring the volume down a little bit. You guys tell me if it's too loud or if it's not loud enough. And I hope it's not a lie. I hope it is royalty free. Would be not cool if it wasn't. I feel like this leg could be a little bit closer to the body. I didn't unpack my eraser yet. Okay, so we have one leg going up here. And then the other leg is a little bit squished like that. I have a pretty cool picture here of this crab. I'm trying to imitate it as well as I can. There we go. Sounds decent. Thank you, Didi. Alright, I was thinking of doing this earlier in the day and just doing some sort of live stream, but I did have some friends over with a very cute new baby, and that pushed the timeline a little bit, so I think this actually comes just in handy. Finishing up Inktober on a live stream. I'm totally fine with that. Next week is going to be relatively busy as well, so I'm not sure yet how I'm gonna do the Monday video because I didn't do it yet. I do have some footage that I pre-shot for it, but yeah, let's see. So I don't necessarily like this hexagonal shape, but I just wanna fill in some space for a potential spaceship here. So imagine this as maybe a big cargo hauler, or maybe it was a former warship that has been hollowed out by our friend here. So you could see maybe some of the decks here. That would be interesting. Let me see. Usually I do a little bit more pre-sketching. So what I did throughout all of Inktober is I did quick digital sketches of the ideas that I wanted to draw out. That's what I did for this one as well, but not that much. I spend sometimes, I don't know, up to half an hour, sometimes even more, until I come up with an idea that I really like. And here I find it hard to sort of have a spaceship that looks quite used and quite old. And it still has to sort of stand up. I want especially the back part to be a little bit more fallen apart. Yeah, let me zoom this out just a little bit. Focus, good. Yeah. So there could be pieces missing. You have the exhaust there. It should maybe have some sort of command deck here. And then some areas that are bent down. I think I like the war-torn aspect. Look to it. It's so also what I could and should also do is step a little bit away from the pure crab, bring in some maybe alien elements, which is hard because I didn't think I like thinking a little bit more about my thing, so I could also just give it a little bit of a body there, but yeah, the moment my attention is sort of switching between the crab and the spaceship. I do like this, especially that part. Okay, let me just jump in and start fine lining things. And let's see what happens. What are you drawing by looking at? So I'm drawing also welcome, first of all, and I'm drawing the last Inktober sketch for which the prompt was crawl. But since this year I'm doing spaceships, I'm trying to do a Hermit Crab that sort of hollowed out or managed to crawl itself into a derelict spaceship. So we have the Hermit Crabs that crawl into former shells, sometimes other things. And I want this to be sort of like a giant hermit crab that uses the remnants of a big old spaceship. And this is too thin. Bogdan Mircha, hello, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the final Inktober sketch of the year, at least when it comes to me. And we're drawing a very friendly hermit crab for tonight. And there we go. The thing is, the hermit crabs usually drag their shell around, or their house, whatever they decide to live in. And this one is like semi-floating in a space because, well, we don't really have gravity in outer space. I imagine these are the claws, so I should maybe emphasize that a little bit. There we go. Maybe I could have him tilted because he's relatively straight. If I tilt him a little bit along with the spaceship, I like that. I feel like that's a relatively good idea. So let's take. I love it because hermit crabs already have quite cartoony / alienish eyes. So I'm just gonna do him a little bit herpy-derpy and fill this in with black. Then the light spot is on that side and fill this in with black. There we go, something like this. And then I'm really trying to copy his mouth area because that's really interesting. If you look at the hermit crab's mouth, it's like, I swear to God, this is like a perfect alien being. You don't even have to worry about necessarily designing an alien. You just have to draw a hermit crab and you're spot on. There we go. Like I wouldn't even know how to describe this weird mouth area that it has here. Very interesting. I love it when something like this happens, because I never drew a hermit crab before, and then you just really discover how weird some of the creatures of our planet can be, and how alien they are from us and what we know. It's really fun to use this pen. Yeah, I mean, I like this. In general, there's very few fine liners that I don't really enjoy using a lot. There we go, and then we have a little bit of, if not thicker leg, it's just a little bit bent leg. But these fine liners I particularly like because they're water resistant, and since during Inktober I like to do ink washes, it is quite important that I have a good water resistant fine liner. There we go. And then we have the final leg. Well, this could maybe be more dug into this meteorite that our friend is stationary. And so maybe I was thinking it could be sort of a crab that hops from meteorite to meteorite, or asteroid, sorry, not there we go. If I talk too much, my voice goes away. So basically, it could be living in an asteroid field. Excuse me. So it could be hopping from asteroid to asteroid. So if I'm just gonna put a couple more asteroids all over him like that. There we go. And then it would be cool if maybe some of these smaller asteroids throw a shadow on the bigger ones, and then there could have a bigger one that just totally eclipses the small one. But those are details. We'll get back there. Shag B, welcome to the stream. We are having fun with crabs and spaceships, because both crabs and spaceships are fun. I don't know if you guys knew that, but they are really fun. Like, if there are crabs in space, how funny would that be? I mean, I don't know, especially if they're giant like this, I think I would freak a little bit out. Actually, it wouldn't be that funny. Okay, so now I do want the body to be a little bit... So that's the question, how much can I show of the body? Okay, let me take this paper because I'm already smearing too much of the pencil there. Charlene Crawford, what advice would you give me for beginning foreshortening? Oh, that is a good question. Life studies, like do foreshortening life studies, like look at things in real life. If you have a friend or you can also just like look at this pen. See, as it's thicker up here and as you go down there, it becomes thinner and thinner. That's what gives away that it actually is pointing towards the camera. Foreshortening is part of perspective as well. Something that's closer to you is going to get thinner and thinner as it goes closer to somewhere a vanishing point. Obviously, we don't see a vanishing point here, but if it was, I don't know, let's say a 4-meter long pen, like you wouldn't see the end of it. So the more you look at stuff like this, you can hold the pen in one hand and you can draw it with the other hand. So that's I would say a good exercise to start with foreshortening. But really, what helps also a lot is see how other people handle foreshortening. Like if you see an interesting thing that an artist drew, try, I don't know what it is, but if you find, I don't know, for example, a product drawn in a foreshortened way, try replicating it yourself and then compare it how the artist that you like did. That usually helps quite a bit learning. Thank you. I'm glad you like my art. And welcome Speedscape. All right, so before I continue here, I didn't really think about this command deck unit, whatever that is there. So I just want to maybe work it out a little bit more, because we would have maybe some windows looking out. We could have some separate walk areas. I like putting these sort of, what do you call them? Radar, not dishes. Like many of the ships have these round things that technically I think serve as radar units. So just to make it look a little bit techy. I have this tendency of skipping techiness sometimes, and I still want this to read a little bit techy. There we go. So sort of, okay, I need a thinner one. Let me switch to a 005. And then we have our cupola thing that probably was a radar or sonar or LiDAR. Probably not sonar because we're not underwater, but some sort of system to help you navigate in space and just find other things so you don't run into them. the thing is, it is, it's always when you get towards the end of October, you are quite out of energy, and I can feel that right now because I'm not coming up with the best ideas, and I'm just trying to skip through some of it. Usually I would spend a lot more time trying to think about, oh, what sort of spaceship was this? How did it work? What sort of battles did it fight if it was a battle spaceship? So things like that, that right now, I really want to go to bed. I think it was last weekend when we switched to daylight saving or whatever it's called. Either way, we had to take the clock back. And ever since, I feel like at 8 to 9 p.m., I just become super sleepy. And I'm just over that phase that I want to go and do sleepy time for myself. Charlene is asking, how did you learn your art style? I feel like art styles are always the influences. So the artists and pieces that you see that have the biggest influence on you. And for me, I grew up with, well, first cartoons, but then I also really got into comic books. So I did have a really comic booky art style. And then I decided to study industrial design for my master's, where, well, yeah, you know, if you look up industrial design, you will recognize that I do have an industrial designery touch to my style as well. And then sort of I combined what I learned from industrial design with what I learned by myself, and I just developed this my own style. And then all the people that had influence on me, people like Sid Mead, or who was visionary, he was an imaginary, I think they also called him, but also a lot of comic artists like Ken Kennedy, or Spider-Man artist, what was his name? Bagley, Mark Bagley, for example. He also had a big influence on me. But yeah, it's just my style is just a combination of all the things that I have encountered throughout the years. Because style is nothing else than you trying to copy, emulate, and learn the styles of people that you really like. And then, because as you grow, you see more and more people, and maybe you fall out of love with styles of people that you thought that you were really into, but you still retain something that you learn from them. And then slowly it adds up, and you will have a style. And I'm pretty sure that's what that's what happened to me. Okay, so this is a little bit sticking out too much. So let's take away from that. Oh, sorry about that. It's still too big, but in this case I'm going to exaggerate. I'm going to be fine with it, exaggerating a little bit here. So 1 and 2. And then here I'm just gonna draw in some random stuff that I imagine would be in a spaceship. Like you would have different decks, and then you have to have connection between these decks. There we go. Luis Fernando, boa noite desde Brazil. I know boa noche is good night. And I know Brazil is Brazil. I don't know what this is. Brazilian is one of those languages that I find really beautiful. And I find it a shame that I don't speak it. Maybe one day I will visit and I will learn it as well. But yeah, welcome to the stream from Brazil. I'm always surprised all the different places that people come from and see these streams. Okay, I need to think just a little bit more about this ship. So obviously this is the back part. So, and there might be some broken off elements here, I would say. This is actually one of my favorite things, drawing broken thingies. That's why I was really happy on this one. But this week, when we had to draw the float, because I decided I'm just gonna go with the wreckage, and it's always so much fun to draw all those things there, just floating around, little pieces of ship wreckage. So I'm gonna incorporate just a little bit, not too much of that this week. Well, not this week, but today as well. Okay, I feel I need a little bit more definition for what I want the body of this little alien crab to be. I want it to be a bit twisting sort of back, and then into darkness. I don't know what this is, but I like it. So I'll add one on this side as well. Sort of like gills or something. Could work, could work. I'm gonna switch to a thinner fine liner. It's not a big difference, but like usually I use thinner ones for detail work, but also for when I'm a little bit still exploring with the shape. So if I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with my shape, I feel like I can hide mistake, or I have more freedom to just explore and draw around when I have like a thinner fine liner. And usually, yeah, I should do this exploration. Well, what I would do, as I said, I would have done this digitally and like drawn out a more detailed fish or a more detailed crab for myself, what I wanted. But when I just want to get work done a little bit faster, I feel I'm always faster if I draw directly with pen, because I'm just forced to make those mistakes, and I can't really just sit around and let me try this and erase, and let me try another one and erase again. No, I make decisions and I just have to go with them. Okay, let me add some texture to the legs since I'm here. Like this is, I feel like this is maybe detailing work that could wait till later in the drawing process, but it seems to be fitting right now. And I do have this approach to drawing that I really like jumping around a lot, because I don't know, my brain doesn't just fixate. I find it hard to fixate just one part of the drawing. Well, and by mean one part, I mean as in being more structured, because it would be a nice structured approach if I put down the basics of the drawing and then I come back for details a little bit later. But yeah, I don't know. Today I don't feel structured at all. I just feel like having fun and drawing a silly crab, a silly giant crab. I'm adding some more texture to it, so I'm just gonna a little bit roundings and just add a couple of these sort of, well, they're not pimples, but if you look at the crab, they have all these weird texture things on their claws, I think. I think it's called a claw. There we go. Like this is really fun, and this is usually I do this at the end because you want to keep something sweet for yourself towards the end. I did want to just emphasize this back area just a little bit. So you don't want to put too much detail into the back, because you don't want too much of the attention going there. Let me actually go over this area again, just to make sure that the attention is on this one. here we go. So this one should pop a little bit now. Okay, and then I will have to do the same thing for the legs. I'm quite the opposite, losing myself in details, forgetting what proportion. Well, that's not the opposite. Trust me, that's how what I do as well several times. But it's not good. So the good thing is, if you know that's how you are, you can catch yourself. You can catch yourself doing that and try to not do that. I remember when I was younger, like all I wanted to do is details because drawing details is really fun, right? So I would just try to catch yourself. Technically, there's nothing wrong with it, but and if you look at somebody like G, the famous Korean guy, like he just starts with one detail and it just keeps on drawing. But then again, he has been drawing his whole life and he's a master. So yeah. Okay, so I do like that area. It's gonna look better once I start adding more stuff there. So I feel like I'm just gonna add some more. These are the layers within the spaceship, the different decks. Just adding a bit more of that detail that lived in this. So this was like a functional big spaceship that got abandoned due to some sort of fight. And then our friend here was like, hey, I'm just gonna squeeze my butt in there and I'm gonna be happy jumping from asteroid to asteroid with it. Because that's how I roll. And maybe this here was some sort of entrance to the spaceship. Right there. Okay, before I continue on the detailing, let's work just give a little bit of shape to this asteroid. And the thing, what I like to do is like if you set up lines for yourself, you don't always have to follow it. Actually, you get more dynamism out of your drawing if you don't follow it exactly. Yeah, it seems like the image is already in his mind. Well, sort of. Yeah, so what I want here, because if I set up these shadows here, I want to have sort of that shadow language for my little beastie as well. So I'm going to try and draw shadows for the legs. Oh, sorry. My head keeps on hitting the camera. Okay, so this should be all shadow here. Shadow, this should be shadow area. So you don't see there anything, that's shadow. And this could be like this. Okay, once again, I'm gonna take my thin one and go a little bit in. Just try and map out where this shadow could be. Do you like biomechanical kind of style, aka Geiger or Giger? Yes and no. I mean, I like it, but Giger's art freaks me the hell out. It's just really creepy. There is definitely a beauty in it, and a beauty that I appreciate and I like, but I mean, I don't want to look at it too long because it's just way too creepy for me. I'm gonna do this shadow very thinly because I know for sure that I will come back with ink wash and I'm gonna make it much darker. But like this sort of cross-hatching I find extremely relaxing. I can turn off my brain and just try to do one line after the other, as close to each other as possible, as parallel and straight as possible. It's almost like meditation, I must say. It's just really enjoyable. And it also gives quite a nice effect. The only problem I would say is that you can easily overuse it. And I already have a couple of lines like this on the main crab's body. And I don't want to have too many of them. Alright, a couple more here. And then a little bit in this area as well. So these are all our shadows. There we go. So what I will have to do now is come back a little bit with my thicker fine liner and make sure that these legs stand out. I want them popping a little bit. There we go. And because these overlap, I'm going to do it on this side as well. Same here. Just nice, steady hand. No stress at all. Let me do it here. Yeah, see, it's a nice pop. It is important to do that little part with going over of the black line as well. Yep. There we go. And then these legs I left out for the longest time, so let me do this one as well. And it's quite possible that I will come back with even a thicker fine liner or even my Tombow later on, when I see how many thick lines I have in my drawing, if it's needed or not. Rotate the image so it's more in my hands direction. And I wanted to hide this a little bit in the asteroid, right? Maybe some parts of the asteroids just got not hinged, but just they popped up. There we go. And these legs also need a little bit of texture treatment, like I have there. Okay. Something that's important is I feel like there's a lot of detail because there's a lot of pencil marks and scratches in the background. So as soon as I erase those, I will be confronted with the fact that there's actually not that much detail. All right. So I'm just throwing these asteroids in there. There we go. Just one asteroid. So that's shadow area. I will probably come back there as well. Little asteroid there as well. And a big one here. Actually, it would be cool if I would draw maybe another one of these. I mean the crab. Like if I would put a crab on another asteroid just here in the background. There we go. And maybe some floating there. Just some debris. It's always fun to draw some debris here and there. And let me draw this bigger one as well. There we go. And then one more here. It's interesting because you have like an internal feeling of balance. Like if you put something here, you want to put there, you want to counterbalance it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just jumping. I think I don't like that these two are pretty much the same size. That's a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. Definitely not optimal. But hey. Okay, let me just jump in with the pencil a little bit again. I just want to explore this asteroid a little bit. There are lines that I like and lines that I don't like. And I want to see if I can... crap it. Let me just listen to myself and go straight with my fine liner, because I feel like I can... Okay, I need to rotate it a little bit. So I like bringing... usually I like to draw my asteroids quite edgy, but I do like bringing in a couple of these more either organic curves or organic, like these sort of crosshatch thingies, and that combines quite well if I bring in more of these straight lines as well. At least that's how it seems to me. I might be wrong, but it just feels cool. I don't know. I like how it feels. And then we have some more here. And I feel like I'm not gonna finish that part. I'm just gonna let it wash out. Okay. So I'm just gonna do a comic book trick and say I want this to be black and I want that to be black and maybe this area to be black as well. Oh, sorry, I hit it again with my face. Okay, so let me take my tumble. I keep this on top so I don't smudge too much of the pencil. And aside from the lines, the cross-hatching, this is also another sort of drawing thing that is just really relaxing. Oh right, I forget to speak, I forget to think. I'm totally in the zone and just feel the dark ink mushing around. So there we go, this one. This is all shadow. Goes to this thing, whatever that thing is. Alright, and then we had a little bit of black over there as well. It feels good, doesn't it? Yep. I feel like this can also be black. We have a little bit of detail separating the one from the other, but this can just blend into the background. There we go. And then here we have the sort of the body of our crab friend. And this was also black here. I see the little X mark. Sometimes it can be a bit, well, I don't think it can be too much black, but it depends what you want to read. I feel like there's plenty of room for more black here. There we go. Like this. I'm just gonna underline a couple of these things. And then here I can do a little bit of crosshatch. So we have this darker spot here. Just like that. There we go. And it's sort of the same here. Okay, that works. Go to my thinner fine liner. I'm just gonna bring in some details into this ship as well. Just some Grabble There we go. Just some plating, like how this ship of ours was assembled. Some extra thing. Like this is, so I've been asked about my style earlier today, and this is something I think I took away from Cam Kennedy, who illustrated Star Wars, The Dark Empire. I really love the way he drew all those things. Sure, I do have a different style as well, but I just always try to combine and remember what I saw from the way he drew all the spaceships in Dark Empire. Yeah, this is not working now, but I am tired. I cannot be bothered. Okay, I'm gonna erase all the paper now. Oh, not the paper. All the pencil lines, because I want a little bit of clarity. And as I said, when you have still a lot of pencil lines, it sort of tricks you in thinking that there's much more detail in your drawing than there actually is. And you need to fix that sooner or later. So it's better to fix that sooner than later, at least in my opinion. Andras Ora, do you use Crosshatch for large surfaces? Not necessarily, no. Um, I I use it to give a little bit of a feeling of material for that surface. Otherwise, I don't really use it. It depends. So I know that in this drawing, I will come in with ink wash soon. So I feel like maybe the cross hatching is not needed. But I usually use cross hatching to convey shadow, like here on the claws. There we go. And I feel here I could come back with some cross-hatching detail just to give a little bit more depth. Yeah, and this is the wrong fine liner to go just blacking something in. But what I do mostly with cross-hatching is doing these crisscross thingies, which fill space relatively fast and gives you a little bit of an impression of material. But then let's not forget about our friend here. Just give it a little bit of direction. There we go. The picture reminds me of chicken, only in space. Chicken stays good. Now I have it. Okay, I don't know how this crab reminds you of the chicken, but hey, to each his own, I guess. Okay. So I want a couple of more of these. So you don't always need to do cross-hatching. You can do different ways of suggesting texture and suggesting form, shape, and also like materials. Like I add these lines now because this is where sort of the leg, so the edge of the leg is, well, edge, the rounding from one side to the other. So here we have the rounding and then goes a little bit, and I just let the human brain fill in the part in the middle. Same here, it goes for a little bit. I can also turn it into a line a little bit, bring back some of these, and then bring back these rounded area. And here below, because I guess there's less shadow there, I could do some of, oh, this goes that direction. Let's try and keep the direction line of crosshatch in this case. There we go. And then this area is more in shadow here. Just like that. And then bring obviously these interesting little material details of our crab friend, who has a bunch of these bumps and things on his hard crustaceous shell leg thingies. Oh, here I totally neglected this part of the leg. Let me quickly fill that in. Bring some of those here as well, a couple of dots, a couple of fuller there. That's nice. Yeah, once again, when I do detail work like this, it's super easy to forget about talking and communicating. So that happens often. All right, I think I'm fine with that. Let's return to our spaceship again. Some more gravel. So when you add this sort of crosshatch, it usually signifies, or at least how I understand it, dirt or battle damage. It can also be battle damage. Humps and areas of the hard surface that have been deteriorating, or holes in it or something like that. There we go. I feel like I could bring in a couple of darker areas here as well. This is my thicker one, yes. Well, actually, I'm gonna take an even thicker one. I think I have a 05. There we go. This is nice and thick. To give it a little bit of a cartoony outline. There we go. I wanted to pop more and what I could do. Yeah. So as I said, I will come back and make this thicker. And that could happen right now is because I'm thinking about maybe making the asteroid a little bit thicker as well. And there we go. And then here as well. And here as well. Boom. All right. And now I'm just going to come in with this little asteroid. Just wanted to pop a little bit more off the background. It's a bit too thin for my taste. All right. Now I'm going to take my tumble. I keep on flipping back and forth between my markers depending on what's needed at a given point. This could be actually an area of the hull that has been blown out. There we go. And these could have been also some sort of, I don't know, exhausts or a side booster system, not quite sure. But there might be more of these darker holes. Let me take my thinner fine liner and then plot in a little bit of this. So there was sort of a connection here between the back end of the ship and this central area. And this all going to be a very dark patch. Incognitus, thank you, man. I'm glad you like it. Just a little bit of, well, I don't want to say it's late night, but it's 11 p.m., which for me is late night at the moment because I'm quite sleepy. But I do want to finish this. There we go. So there we also have a little bit of a blown out area. And I'm just going to come in with this and make some of these areas a bit dark as well. So we still have some debris falling off of this thing. That's what I want to sort of show off. I can sort of give a darker edge to the shadow area of our asteroids. There we go. Here as well. Yeah, I'm a bit not paying enough attention. Can you tell a bit about visual communication methodology conception? Oof. Well, not through this drawing, right? It's a little bit harder. It's a lot about storytelling. Like what do you wanna tell about it? So I have, oh man, I have several mistakes in here. Okay, visual communication methodology conception. Depends what you want to communicate, who your client is, or who you're communicating with. In this case, I'm doing visual communication. It's sort of storytelling. So what I'm doing is coming up with a little story in my head, and I'm trying to convince you of the legitimacy of this universe or whatever is happening here with this visual. So what you can take away from here is there's this crab thing that sort of took this ship as its new house. I gave this bigger asteroid here, it's living on this, but I also gave several smaller ones, or maybe even bigger ones, but further in the background, to sort of give a little bit of, well, I wouldn't call it word creation, but I don't just want to float on one asteroid when there's no others, because that wouldn't make sense. The whole premise of this crab of ours is that it is jumping from asteroid to asteroid, maybe looking if there's minerals or something in these asteroids that it can eat. So that's sort of my purpose, and the way I'm communicating and that is, well, I'm failing because I had the idea of maybe putting another crab somewhere here, and then actually, wait, I just had a good idea for that. You could have a different sort of ship here with a different engine and legs there. It could, I'm not sure it reads well, but it's there. Anyways, back to visual communication. So the simplest, if you think of visual communication, you don't have to think of beautiful big drawings either. Like if you just write down two words, put an arrow between them, then one word leads to the other word. That's already visual communication. You help conveying a message with a very simple visual. So it's not always about the complexity and the beauty of visuals. It can be the weirdest scribble. If you manage to convince the client with it, it's worth a lot. But the problem is, it's a little bit late. So maybe I will come back on this with a separate video. But it's 11 p.m. over here. And sadly, I must say my thoughts are not super coherent at the moment. So if, Incognitus, if you have specific questions, I probably can wrangle my brain around it and answer more specific questions. But sadly, this is a little bit too open-ended for me at the moment to totally answer it. And hello, Lulu. Welcome. Yeah, I feel like these could be a little bit... Where is that fiver? There we go. I'm going to make these big exhaust ports a little bit thicker. I want them to stand out just a bit more. And I would like some more debris everywhere here. So I'm just gonna throw in some dirt everywhere. There we go. Just the edge. All right. Well, those are all different terms. Graphic design is something that you can go and study for 5 to 6 semesters. Visual research, well, that's a part of research where you want, if you can build visual libraries for yourself and you go through different sort of sources building up a visual library, and that can be visual research. Semantics, I'm actually not that familiar with how it's used within visual communications. But yeah, so the thing with graphic design is that it's extremely helpful, but a lot of visual communicators don't know much about graphic design. Me, myself, I studied industrial design. I am horrible at graphic design. I can draw something out. I can follow a conversation. I can listen to a strategy and sort of turn it into a visual. And because, so I do have limited graphic design capabilities, but not enough. So I can do storytelling, but if there's too much information, I do have problems myself structuring everything, because the whole graphic design is all about understanding priorities of shapes, priorities of color. How do you arrange all of those in a way that is pleasant for the eye as well? So whenever I'm doing visual facilitation, or I'm trying to put a relatively complex story into visual form, first I really don't care about graphic design, because that takes sort of extra time, and you don't always have that when you're with a client and quickly want to transform a complex story into a visual. So that comes in a little bit later, when you actually have the time to think about it and rearrange your elements, and that's actually when you also design your story a bit more. Okay, I think we have enough sort of dirt and specks on this side. Time to come in with the ink. So I have this thing here for water, and I have a little bit of water for me to drink, which I'm going to waste here. Okay, that's the fresh water. Some goes into my belly. All right, paper can go away. I want to erase this little pencil here. I'm not sure it's totally clear what that's supposed to be there, but I still like it. Okay, so I have this thing here with all sorts of dried up inks. So what I do is I take my brush and I fill at least a couple of these with a bit of water. I'm a cheap bastard and I like reusing ink from yesterday. Which is honestly not the best option, because ink gets dry and bristle and it sort of breaks. So now it actually dissolves nicely, but you will be able, I don't know if you, but here, this one breaks up. Let me bring it closer to the camera. So this one breaks up a little bit, and you have all those little black particles, which I'm not sure it's visible here, but it's just not pleasant. So I'm not going to reuse all these ink. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more, because this is just not enough. So let's just open up our India ink. Make sure that my brush is not too watery, and just let me see if I can see how far I go in there. And I dipped it a little bit in there. So this is my strongest ink here, my darkest. I try to take out as much ink from my brush as possible, and I mix it in here as well. And I'm gonna create different values of ink. So I'm gonna have a super dark one here, a less dark one here, and then very light one there. Let me bring some more of that over here. I'm trying to create an art school portfolio for visual communication design. Yeah. Let me think a little bit. So what will help you there is first of all, infographic is the most basic thing when you think of visual communication. Like, infographics are the most comprehensible things and very useful for that sort of stuff. Another thing that I find is visual communication is very good is the videos where you have little drawn people explaining things to each other. And you can break those down into elements, and you can see what does what. Then you should eat pizza and start with creating pizza picture. Wait, what? You guys lost me. I'm too tired for this. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna start with my darkest here. I'm just gonna fill the area of the ship where our little friend goes it himself in. But yeah, as I said, so if you want to get started with your portfolio, just disseminate other stuff that is definitely visual communication. See how that works, and then put stuff together for yourself. Like, under visual communicate, it's also just like industrial design, or not necessarily industrial, but product design. It's an umbrella term, and there's so many things that fit under that name of visual design as well. Like, since we're talking about pizza bottles, like, or pizza boxes. Like, if you look at the pizza box, the graphic design, that is also visual communication, right? They're trying to communicate with you. So there's stuff to you. I would say you need to have a more focus on what exactly you want to communicate, or or who you're talking to. Like, who are the people, who are the professors who will see this portfolio of yours. Rage Master, buonasera. Buonasera, Donna Rage Master. Okay, what I will do, I will have to bring in a little bit more dark later into this, my darkest black, because it's not dark enough. It's just not dark enough. I feel like this should be the outside of the ship dark. Like, in here, our friend should be much darker. But for now, I can just fill in the shadow areas, and I will come back for another layer, maybe with darker gray in a sec. Okay, let's do the side of our ship. So this is the shadow side. I'm just gonna do a little bit of paneling here. It's just that will give a little bit of the false impression of detail. Leave a couple of white spots for fun as well. There we go. just like that. I must say, having done this month of inking and, well, ink washes can be very relaxing as well. At least I enjoy it more and more. I'm coming back with this lighter gray because honestly I don't really want white areas in here, because our friend is mostly in shadow, so it wouldn't make sense to have too many white areas. Also, please tell me if I'm not really in camera view here. What's also nice that you can sort of do a little bit of texture work with the brush as well. Like our friend Bob Ross always was talking about happy little mistakes, and that's what your brush can do for you. Like, it can really do a lot of the heavy lifting work if you just let it. At least that's how I feel. And I think I will come back here. I definitely want to make this darker, so I'm just gonna let it dry a little bit, because this is not necessarily watercolor paper. And we'll come back with a darker tone of this gray. Andras Ora asks, what are the pros and cons of watercoloring compared to markers? I would say stuff like this. You can get these sort of interesting effects. Let me see if I have more stuff with these effects in them. This is what I like to do here. I don't know how clear it comes over. Or here, like these exhaust thingies. You can play around a little bit. I don't know if I... So technically this is not watercolor, this is ink. Like, I really like these sort of effects. You get these really interesting blotches out of it. And I'm a relatively big fan of that here. You could get this with marker as well in the end, if you do it enough. But yeah, I don't know. Like, stuff like this, I really like this. But yeah, since it's Inktober, this is all ink, so I'm working with ink in the end. But yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow or the day after tomorrow doing some old, just proper marker stuff as well, because I do miss it and I haven't done it in a month now. I've been quite busy and only had time to draw this mostly. Lovely drawings. Thank you, Andras. So we have this side is in shadow all the way up here. Right. This is all shadow, and this should be throwing a shadow like this. Something there. This could be more shadow area as well. Yeah, I need to darken this. It's not dark enough for my taste. Okay, I'm just gonna take another splotch of ink and add it to my main thing. Okay, there we go. Now this should be super dark. I'm gonna just mix it in there a little bit. Put the ink away. Oh yeah, actually I do enjoy the smell of ink. It's very, very nice. So this should be a super, whenever I touch it down. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is black. That is too dark for me. Okay. We don't want it to be black now, do we? I feel like if I will add water to it, it will become too bright. Where's my toilet paper? So another thing that I forgot, always have toilet paper at hand so you can take out some of the water. Okay. I also like to sculpt a little bit, so like basically use this to paint. Okay, I'm gonna take out more of this dark and just try to unify it a little bit. There we go. I need that depth, so I need some areas to be super dark and others to not be that dark. Then I can paint in a little bit with the details as well. There we go. And I went quiet. Yeah, it's since brushwork is not necessarily my strength, I am trying to pay extra attention to it. Hey Raducci, was there something specific you learned from this daily thing besides mileage? That is a good question. What I learned is I became much more confident with ink washing. And I know a little bit more about how to apply ink washes. I know it works quite a bit like watercolor. You can build it nicely. So you can build one layer on top of the other, which I'm a big fan of. You can use it also quite graphically. And I learned that it's really fun to use the properties of the brush. So the brush can become quite thin, as you can see here. So you can do really nice detailed work. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna go with the super dark for the shadow. Frack it. Oh yeah, so one of you was asking me about why it's nice to go with brush instead of markers. So let me show you. I'm gonna fill this up here with this. This is my shadow, but as you can see, it's quite watery. I'm gonna take some of the water away because it's a little bit too much. Put it onto the toilet paper here. I'm gonna dip it into the super dark ink. I'm just gonna touch it a little bit, and that will run and give that interesting effect that I like. Oh, also tell me to push this higher because it's too low, and you guys probably can't see it. Okay, let me bring a bit more water into this because I want a little bit of the same effect again. See, that's pretty cool. You have a really nice natural sort of blend there. I will try to do the same thing here. I just need a bit more water. Let me bring the water from here up there because that's where I want it to run a bit more. Okay, and now I will touch it into the darker area. And I'll just let it do its thing. You can do your thing. Okay, and then this, I'll just fill it in. Let me do one of those touch thingies again. You can also help it along by moving it a little bit yourself and maybe adding a little bit of water to it and then dissolving it into the rest. There we go. Okay, and I want this still to be a proper asteroid, so I'm just gonna come in and add the... Oh, that is a bit dark. How about we go a little bit lighter? Technically, I could go even a lot lighter than this, but yeah, whatever. Once again, I let mostly the brush do a lot of the texture work for me here. Do a little bit of corrections here and there. But most of the work is done by the brush. And I really like this dirty, quite strong textures that come out of this. A little bit more. So this is the lower area. I'll make sure to come back again. And here you can come back with a dark one as well. Actually, let me take me a little bit of this super dark, because this is the shadow area of this asteroid. Thing is, you have to work a little bit fast, because so especially this is not watercolor paper, so it soaks the water in relatively quickly. Roducci, I love the Hermit Crab feeling, absolutely amazing. Thank you very much, Roducci. I'm really glad it came out well. And just trying also to draw in a little bit of detail with this. There we go. I like the randomness of the brush. And now I can bring in a little bit of darkness into the other asteroids as well. I don't want them too dark because they're further in the back. So that's the interesting thing with space. That, especially when I'm drawing with dark, what I like to do is the cheaty thing, like here, right? I just draw in a black panel and add some white dots. And then we have a spaceship, and I don't have to do too much painting on it. But here I sort of went the opposite way. I still feel I might. Should I do them darker? In the end, they're not. So these are all the shadow areas. Not super dry yet. I feel like I can go over the legs in a second a little bit again, because those are not super dark. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna take the darker color. Come in here. Still probably like I can sculpt back a little bit, add some more detail with it. Oh, sorry guys. So the camera is relatively close to my glasses, and every now and then I get my glasses get stuck in it. There we go. I like that. That works just nicely. A little bit here as well. Okay, here I could go a little bit lighter, I feel like. Like this could be kind of, there's no reason that that should be so light. So I'm just gonna do a wash over it and do a wash over this as well. This leg could get a bit of a wash here as well. Just things that you notice once you see the shading on all the other parts, that okay, it's a bit too bright, jumps out a bit too much. Like the eyes could have a differentiation here, just making it a little bit darker there. And here you have a little bit of ambient occlusion, so I could do that, maybe just simulate some detail. Great, I hit the camera again, sorry guys. Yeah, I think I will have to call this soon because I'm getting sleepy and apparently I'm destroying my equipment. I want this a bit darker. So imagine maybe this is like an area, a slit or something. So it just brings a little bit of more interest to the spaceship. And since we're here, this might be closer to the camera, so I can make this a bit darker and also bring a little bit of equilibrium, because these are too close to each other size-wise, and also they both have this stupid thing, so that's very bad. I'm not happy about that. But if at least if I make this one darker and that one stays a bit brighter, I counterbalance that mistake. Still not fantastic, but hey, better than nothing. Yeah, I think I'm good with this. I might just call this a night. Also, we're like 1.5 hours in, so I think it's a good time to stop this little live stream. And thank you everybody for joining in. Even though you guys were quiet. I didn't ask too many questions. I like it where there's more talk. There's like 27 people watching and nobody's really chatting or saying anything. I mean, come on, guys. Live streams are there to talk with people. Otherwise, you can just watch my boring ass videos. Okay. So whenever I want to end a stream or be done with a drawing, I see new things that, oh, I can do this and I can do that. And I seem not to be able to finish. Sorry, did not want to distract. Oh, you're not distracting me. I mean, that's why I do live streams. I like talking with you guys. And I always should do more live streams, but yeah, sometimes life is just busy. I personally don't want to spam the chat and be the only one to see. Okay, of course, you don't want to talk, and then other people don't want to talk either, and then nobody's talking. But it's fine. I kid. I don't mind. If you don't want to talk, there's never pressure. I don't want to put pressure on you guys. You do whatever you feel good to you. Let's give a little bit of shadow to the eyes. I feel like that will make it more interesting. And then I can, see, that's what I'm saying. And now I can detail this a little bit more. Gosh darn it. There we go. What I do with the drawings, nothing really. So what I thought to do this year, because I tried to put in a little bit more effort, and I have recorded videos for many of these. Where does it start? It starts here. So I want to sell them maybe on Gumroad. So the set of these in high resolution plus 3, 4, 5 videos that people haven't seen yet of these. That would be the idea if people are interested. So I'm probably going to do What's the word? It is getting late. I can't even speak anymore. I'm gonna do a question, not a questionnaire, a poll. Yeah, exactly. That's the word, a poll. So I'm gonna do a poll here on YouTube and probably also on my Instagram. And if people are interested, I would love to sell these as a Gumroad or something, as a PDF plus the videos that I made. Well, in the beginning, I was also I wanted to film this as well, just as a video, but I thought, hey, I haven't done a live stream in a long time, so let me just jump on that. Whenever I do a live stream and I have a lot of interaction, I'm like, oh, why don't I do this more often? It is always really fun. And then I forget to do it, or I get busy. Life comes in between. All right, I will put my brush into the water, take my thing, do a signature. It's the 31st, 10, 2020, and the prompt word are we dry? Are we dry? Yeah, prompt word is crawl. And this is number 31. Oh, thank you very much, guys. Oh, this was really fun. I will go and probably hit the bed right after I posted this on Instagram. Once again, thanks for joining in. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye, everyone.